Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Andrew with All Things Fantasy. Bringing you another video. This is going to be Think Like a Pro, Episode 1. If you saw my last video, I talked about how I was going to start playing against pros head to head in MLB contests and trying to um, see what they're doing kind of day to day and seeing what their strategies are. Try to break down their lineups and help you guys learn from them. So we actually got off to a really good start here. I was able to play Papa Gates and Chipotle Addict, um, but I was not able to play CSRAM88. I couldn't find him um, in head-to-head contests. I think he might have just took the day off, so I only got two today, but they were. I mean, I actually ended up winning both of them, so that's good. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So here's my first one against Papa Gates. My head-to-head lineup, I went with DeGrom and Suter for my two pitchers. DeGrom was in a interesting matchup, but he pretty much spit in 8 strikeouts. He only gave up 3 walks, 5 hits allowed, and 21 outs. So, I mean, he did pretty well. It was funny because like no pitcher was like rating really high. No pitcher had a bunch of high pro trends. Like it was a really weird slate. Oh, by the way, this was the Monday, the Memorial Day early slate, so it excluded the 3 night games. So it was all the day games. Um, yeah, so there was no really pitcher that was popping. You can kind of go a couple different ways. The pitchers I liked were Suter. Obviously, he was only I think 4,000, super cheap, and he was in a pretty good spot at home against the Cardinals. Um, he ended up picking up the win. He did allow 3 runs though, and 5 hits. Um, but he was able to get 6 strikeouts. So he had a decent day for 4K. 4 times value, 4.5 times value. So not bad. Um, and then let's look at Papa Gates' pitchers. He went with Chris Archer, who was in a interesting game on the road against the A's, and the game I'm pretty much sure went to like 13 or 14 innings. Went to extras. Um, yeah, it was 0-0 for the longest time. Um, so obviously he didn't give up any runs, and he had 7 strikeouts and only 2 walks and 4 hits. So Chris Archer had a pretty good day, and but his price actually jumped a lot. He was almost like 10K, and the other day he was like 6K. So yeah, it was interesting jump in price. And then he also obviously he had the other end of my um, the Brewers Cardinals game. He had Luke Weaver. Um, I honestly think this Milwaukee team. I mean, they're in first in their division. They're pretty hot right now. I wouldn't want to put a pitcher against them. And he went with the bold. He went I think for some reason, like looking at his lineup, he went with kind of a bold strategy. Something I would probably play more of a GPP lineup. He went with Luke Weaver. Yeah, he gave up 4 runs, um, 2 walks and 5 hits. So and he had 3 strikeouts. So yeah, um, yeah, I did not like Luke Weaver in that spot. There's certain spots where yeah, I'd probably play with Luke Weaver, but not in that spot. Um, Going on to my hitters, I went with a big Cleveland stack. Cleveland had the highest projected run total for that slate. I think it was like 5.6. So I was just all in on Cleveland. I liked the matchup. They were at home against the White Sox. White Sox, one of the worst teams in baseball. I thought they were going to put up runs. They did. They put up 9. But I actually kind of maybe made a mistake here. I didn't play their first baseman, Encarnacion, and he ended up having a huge day. He had like 27 DraftKings points. He had a crazy day. He had a crazy big game, and I kind of missed out on that. Like really, all the players I had exposure to on Cleveland really kind of just had average days, like a hit and a run, and then Lindor had had a decent day with 3 hits, but yeah, it really wasn't anything special. Um, like nobody really went off. Beside besides Encarnacion, who I didn't have exposure to, so that kind of hurt. But I was still able to win my head-to-heads. Yeah, so I went with Gomes at catcher, Kipnis second, Ramirez at third, Lindor at shortstop, and then Brantley in the outfield, and that was my Cleveland stack. And then I had Mark Reynolds from uh, the Nationals at first, and you can see the Nationals put up 6 runs, but he didn't he didn't contribute any of that. He had 1 walk, and that was it. So not a good day out of Mark Reynolds. And then my other 2 outfielders, I went with 2 Angels players. Angels were also in a decent spot. You could have stacked the Angels. Um, I just chose to take um, the 2 players who really are popping on the Angels on the model, Trout and Upton, and they both had pretty decent days. Trout had a good game with a homer, and Upton just had hitting a run and walk, so not bad. Pretty good score. Went up. He went actually the complete opposite of the Cleveland stack. He went with a White Sox stack, which was interesting. Obviously, didn't produce as good a result. Yeah, so he went with a straight White Sox stack, and then he plugged in Gary Sanchez at catcher, produced 0 points. So yeah, that's a tough play. I was definitely not on Sanchez. Gary Sanchez, it was a tough matchup against Verlander, and I didn't want to touch that game at all. He did not pay off for him. Like I said, I think this was a very um, what about a low owned stack, low owned players. Like I feel like it's been more of a tournament lineup feel. And then he also plugged in Matt Duffy again in that low scoring game. Got 0 points. And then with then Carlos Gomez, who just had a walk and a stolen base. So, then Malik Smith. Actually had a pretty decent day. He had 2 hits and a double and an RBI. So, yeah, actually he had the game-winning hit. So that got paid off for him. But other than that, yeah, this lineup was pretty rough with the White Sox stack. Yeah, besides really Tim Anderson's home run, nothing really great. Yeah, and it's always tough when your pitcher only gives you 2.8 points. So yeah, that really hurts. So yeah, that was my matchup against Papa Gates. Yeah, obviously, I just we went opposite sides of Cleveland versus White Sox, and um, you know, honestly, like his stack, if you really look at it, I'm not really looking at it. I think his stack almost like it wasn't like I was actually really close to scoring. I think mine definitely outscored mine a little bit, but obviously my key plays that really beat him was my pitching was Suter, and then obviously Mike Trout was a really good play too. But other than that, like that was really 2 big spots. Was obviously getting a couple donuts, um, and then Luke Weaver. That was really what killed him. So so that's Papa Gates' lineup for the Monday Memorial Day slate. And now let's look at Chipotle Addicts lineup. So I had the same lineup, so I'll break that down again. So Chipotle Addict went with a similar pitcher. So yeah, Chris Archer again. It was a good play. And then he went with Max Fried. I don't know how to say his last name, but he went the opposite side of the Mets Atlanta game. He went with the Braves pitcher, and I know he was really cheap as well, and it actually ended up paying off for him. Getting 15.8 points out of him was not bad considering his price. So that was a pretty good play. He also went with Gary Sanchez. Obviously, that didn't pay off for him in that game. I already kind of explained that one. Paul Goldschmidt was an interesting play here. Arizona obviously put up a ton of points, or a ton of runs, sorry, against the Reds. So yeah, that was a good spot to have him. He did have a couple Diamondback players in his lineup. So that was a good play out of him. Obviously, when your team puts up 12 runs, your players are bound to get some runs, or score some runs, and score fantasy points. So that was a good play. And then he had kind of a mix. He had a little bit of he had two Arizona players, a couple Angels players, and then a couple National players, and kind of had that um, kind of exposure to a couple different games there. He went with Cozarts. Again, just had a walk, and then um, Lamb on the Diamondbacks. He had just the average day. Um, and then Trey Turner and Bryce Harper on the Nationals. Obviously, they put up 6 runs. They both scored. Runs, and again, just had not anything crazy, just respectable days. And then he finished out with two Angels players, Trout and Upton, who I also had Trout and Upton in lineup, so they just kind of canceled out there. And again, kind of comparing our lineups. This was pretty close, pretty close game. Only beat him by 10 points pretty much, 10 and a half. And like I said, the big the big separation was that Gary Sanchez gave him a donut. And then just my stack. Well, obviously excluding the Trout and Upton, like if you look at it, it was really the big plays for me was Lindor that had 15 points. That was kind of the key separator there. And then my stack just kind of consistently just put up 1 points in his kind of spread out lineup. And obviously, Mark Reynolds really hurt me. If I would have played Encarnacion and subbed out one of the other Cleveland players, might have would have had a better lineup there. But I could have put in Cozarts. But so not a bad day. Took down two pros. Starting off 2-0. Since we're going to consider this episode 1. Pretty good start. Definitely think that the pitching was key. I was able to kind of on a day where it was kind of tough to key in on like safe cash game pitching. I was able to kind of hit it on, pretty straight on the good pitchers of the slate. Obviously, if I would have went to Grom and Archer, that would have been really good. That would have been even better. But obviously that would have been very costly. But it just seemed like a lot of the higher priced pitchers weren't in great matchups. They weren't really popping on any model. They weren't rating very high, and it just seemed like you should playing these cheaper guys was such a better play because they were gonna they're gonna return similar right. If I had to choose between Suter to me for 4K to give me 18 points over Archer, who is over 9K, double the price, to give me 23, I'm obviously taking Suter all day long. Only giving up 5 points when you're giving up 5K in salary, I could spend that 5K in salary so much more places. I could upgrade two of my hitters to elite players and who have the opportunity to give me 20-point games. So when it comes to stuff like that, you always have to look at the value plays on the bottom and just kind of ask yourself is it okay giving up can I give up a few points to go down in price and then try to make that up elsewhere? And that was definitely a key move in this slate. So so definitely the Cleveland stack was a good play today. It worked out for me today. Hopefully, I bring you another good win tomorrow for the Tuesday games. I don't want to let this run too long. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.